Okay, imagine this. You're an 11-year-old kid, right? You've spent years dealing with a teacher who's made your family's life miserable. She blocked your brother's special needs diagnosis, forced your parents into a costly private battle, and then becomes your teacher, tormenting you for 10 months. And then, bam, she gives you the mic at school assembly. What do? If you're this kid, you're at a roast so scathing it'd make Shakespeare blush. And honestly, the internet can't get enough of it. But let's dig deeper, because this story isn't just about petty revenge. It's a masterclass in power dynamics, systemic failure, and why kids today are done playing nice. First off, let's talk about Mrs. D. The article says she straight up blocked the kid's brother from getting a diagnosis by lying about test results. Now, I'm no expert, but when a teacher wields that kind of power over a family, especially a family dealing with dyslexia and ADD, it's not just being mean. It's institutional sabotage. And here's the kicker. She wasn't some outlier. The story mentions multiple teachers backed her up. So we're looking at a culture of negligence. A system where kids slip through the cracks because adults are too lazy or too arrogant to do their jobs. And that's what makes this kid's speech so satisfying. Because when he says, "Thanks to Mrs. D, I learned it's not what you know, but who you know," he's not exaggerating. He's calling out the entire network of privilege and laziness that let her thrive. But here's what fascinates me. The roast wasn't premeditated. The kid originally wrote a boring speech because that's what kids are taught to do, right? Be polite, don't stir the pot. But when Mrs. D literally ripped up his speech and rewrote it for him, that's when the gloves came off. And honestly, that moment where an adult abuses their power to silence a child is where this story becomes universal. We've all had that boss, that teacher, that relative who thought they could control us. And watching this kid stand up and say, "No, I see you," that's why Reddit is cheering. Because he turned a mic drop into a societal indictment. Now, let's dissect the roast itself. He compares her to Miss Trunchbull, the abusive head teacher from Matilda. But here's the twist. Unlike Miss Trunchbull, Mrs. D wasn't some cartoonish villain. She was a real person hiding behind a facade of authority. And when he calls out her parenting, mentioning how her kids nearly got hit by a car while she was distracted on her phone, that's not just a burn. It's a metaphor. Because the same negligence she showed his family, she's bringing it to her own kids. That's the kind of layered commentary that makes this speech legendary. It's not just personal, it's systemic. And the aftermath, parents and teachers applauding him, that's the real plot twist. We're so conditioned to side with adults in authority that when a kid wins a battle like this, it feels revolutionary. But here's the question. Why does it take a viral story for people to notice? How many other kids have been silenced by teachers like Mrs. D? And how many more are just waiting for their assembly moment? Because here's the thing. This kid didn't just get revenge. He exposed a flaw in the system. And that's why this isn't just a petty story. It's a warning. When adults abuse their power, the next generation isn't going to take it lying down. They're going to grab a mic, a crowd, and a camera, and they're going to make you famous. So what do you think? Was this roast justified? Or is there a line even angry kids shouldn't cross? Let me know in the comments.